Good morning, everybody. This is Chuck. It's Malik, and today I want to cover just real quickly Kerberos. This is something that a lot of students have issues with because there's so many steps in it, and we really can't see it. We have Kerberos set up on our domain controller, and it basically kind of runs itself. But you really need to understand what happens on the back end. So we're going to go through the steps just real quickly on what happens. All right, well, first off, what is Kerberos? It is nothing but an authentication protocol that authenticates a service request that you are asking for between machines that have already been trusted to each other over either an unsecure network, the internet, or even a secure one, your internal network. So it works in both. It uses what we call tickets, and they're timestamp tickets. So there's a certain time limit, 2 to 5 minutes by default, that all of this stuff has got to take place. If it takes longer than that, the ticket will expire, and the whole thing has to start all over again. By having a timestamp ticket, it greatly diminishes the chance of a man-in-the-middle attack, because if somebody's in the middle, it's going to take much longer for the ticket to get to where it's supposed to get. So it's a very secure manner, and you do not pass your passwords over the connection. Everything is encrypted and uses keys. It can also work in non-Windows environments, so it will allow Unix to authenticate to Windows also, because Kerberos works on multiple OSs. So just kind of throw it out. You know, Kerberos comes from Kerberos, the three-headed dog that guards the gates to the underworld. That comes from Kerberos must having 3 components. Of course, there is the client, which is your machine. There is the service machine, the machine that you're trying to get to. Like, let's say you're trying to get to the S drive on a SAN, or even on a completely different server. That's what you want to get to. And then there is a third-party machine that the client and the service are already set up to trust. We'll call that the KDC, the Key Distribution Center. It's typically stored on your domain controller. Okay, so this is how I have it set up here. So we have our client machine, we have the Key Distribution Center, I have here, it's your domain controller, and we have the machine that you want to access, whatever machine that is. You want to get to a service there, be it a shared drive or the internet or whatever. It's good to know that the KDC and the service machine do not communicate with each other. They communicate to you. You communicate with each one of them. Okay, so here's all the steps. First off, you double click the S drive. Okay, now let's say it's set up to where it's going to come up with a prompt. Okay, it's going to need your username and password and all that type of stuff. Okay, so you're going to make some sort of request for a service inside of your network. So, and again, whatever that service is. So you send along a request for the service, and you send it to that ticket granting server, the KDC. Okay, it's going to have your network address in it. It's gonna let it know what service you need. Okay, that's sent to the authentication server. What the authentication server is going to do is, first off, it's going to check to see if you even exist. Now, it's not going to check overall credentials. It's just going to see if you live anywhere inside the DC. Okay. Now, what it's going to do from here, it sends you back 2 messages. All right, one message is what we call the TGT, the ticket granting ticket. It's going to have your name in it, your ID in it, the name of the KDC itself. It's going to be time stamped. It's going to have the lifetime of the TGT, say 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. And it's also going to hold the session key for the ticket, the TGS session key. It is encrypted with the TGS secret key. There's not anything you can really do with this because you do not have a way to decrypt message 1. Then it's going to send message 2 also. Message 2, again, is going to have some things. It's going to have the TGS name. It's going to have the timestamp. And it's going to have the TGS session key. So it's going to hold the key to establish the session. Okay. Now, the big thing here is what it's encrypted with. It's encrypted with your secret key. Okay. Now, what's going to happen at this time is you're going to be prompted to insert your password. You type in your password. Your machine is going to hash that password and possibly even salt it. If the outcome of that hash and the salt equals your client secret key, then that means your password was correct and you can decrypt message number 2, giving you the TGS session key inside of it. So now you have a session key. Now your username was never passed along that transmission, but you do have a session key. Okay, that's only part of it. What you are now going to do now is you are going to send back your ID encrypted with the session key in message number 1. And in message number 2, it's a clear text one. You're going to send back a message with the service that you want along with the TGT, that ticket granting ticket. Okay. Now again, we can't really decrypt that TGT because we don't have the secret key. There's not a whole lot we can do there. And we are sending back in message 1, we're sending back, of course, our ID. We're also sending back the timestamp. Everything is keeping track of everything. Okay. Now, what's going to happen here is the KDC is going to check to see if whatever service you're asking for even exists. Okay. If it does exist, it will decrypt the TGT with the secret key that it already has. And it will use the session key that it gets from it to decrypt the first message. Okay? The one with your name and ID and the timestamp. The one that you encrypted. Okay. It is now going to finish this thing up and send you back 2 more messages. The very first message is now the service ticket, saying, okay, the service is available, everything's okay, and it is going to encrypt it with the service secret key. And in message 2, the service session key, encrypted with the TGS session key, gives you the service session key. Because you already hold the TGS session key. So when message 2 comes to you, it's encrypted with the TGS session key. You already hold that key, so you can decrypt that message. inside of that message is the service session key. Now you hold that key also. You still can't do anything with message 1 because it's encrypted with the secret key, and you don't have the decryption scheme on that. Okay, so now you're done with the KDC. Now it's time to start talking to the service machine itself. Okay, again, remember, you are holding now both session keys. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to send 2 messages to the service machine. Okay, one of those messages is, again, the one that you really can't do anything with anyway. One of them holds your name, ID, and the timestamp. So you send message number 1, the encrypted service ticket. That's the one that came from the KDC, the one that you can't do a whole bunch with. And then message number 2, which is your name and ID, encrypted with the service session key, the one that you can encrypt and send to them. What that machine is going to do, it's going to take a look at both of those messages. It's going to decrypt message 1 with its secret key to get the session key. It is then going to use that session key to decrypt message 2, because message 2 was encrypted with the session key. So it's going to decrypt message 2 to get what's inside of that. That's what we call the authenticator message. Your name and ID, who you are. That's what authenticates you. It's now going to verify that you are who you are. It is now going to send back what we call an identity confirmation. And it's going to encrypt it with the service session key, which you hold. So this is your identity verification. Okay? You decrypt the message with the session key that you already have, which is now the OK for you to use the service. All of this must happen in a 5-minute time frame. You are constantly, between 2 other machines, constantly sending encrypted messages. And sometimes it's an encrypted message that's encrypted with another key. And that key has got to live on the other machine. That key does not transverse over the network. One of them will, but the other one will not. So they have to hold the key to use it to decrypt the message. Or you send them in 2 separate messages. One message will hold the key to decrypt the next message. So it's an incredibly complex setup. It's one of these, again, it's very hard to see the back end of this thing. It just works. But this is all the stuff that has to happen. And it's got to happen in a certain time frame. If Kerberos ever really fails, it's typically because the clocks are off on your machines. If my KDC, something happens to my clock and it resets to 12 o'clock and it's 3 o'clock, well, when that TGT gets transferred, it's going to use the time off of the machine. So it leaves my KDC at what it thinks is 12:05. It now gets to the client at 3:05. And the ticket's going to be expired. So you're not going to be able to get in. So it's very important that you use your your network time. Typically inside of a network, we pull it from the atomic clocks. We don't just go in and set the time on them, manually. We pull them from the atomic clocks. So that will keep that from happening. Alright, so it's a fairly complex setup when you look at all of the steps involved in it. But just go through the slides a couple of times. Understand it that there's a ton of websites out there that explain it. Some of them get really, really technical. Some of them a little bit more straightforward. But read up a little bit more on that. But this is the gist of the entire Kerberos session. There are a couple of more things that's inside of these packets. But I just wanted to give you the biggest things inside of them. I mean, I would end up making 50 slides if I showed you everything inside of every packet. But hopefully this kind of cleared things up on everything that happens during the client, the KDC, and the service machine when you're using Kerberos. Okay? Alright guys, so I appreciate it. If you have any questions, definitely drop them inside the comments. If there's anything you want to see, let me know about it. Definitely, smash that like button if you like the videos. Subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you guys around soon. Alright, thanks everybody. This is Malik, and I'm out.